Hi everyone, it's Justine. I'm in the process of creating the next collection and I observe myself craving extra inspiration to feed that process. I'm literally consuming books, movies, podcasts, blog articles, etc. And every time I think, I have to tell them about this because it's so good, then I forget. And I don't want that to happen anymore. So I'm starting a kind of new series on this channel. Today is the first episode. You can call that monthly favorites, creative highlights. That's the working title so far, but feel free to suggest better titles in the comments below. It's going to be a bit of a mix of everything. Every time I will do my best to link below where to find that book, watch that movie, further readings, everything that helps you find the source I'm talking about. But in the video, I want to focus on why I liked that thing and what I learned. My goal it is that in each video every month you find at least one thing that you enjoy and want to hear or read as well. If that works, then I did a good job. You might have heard of Garance Doré. She's a French fashion blogger. She started in 2006 with street style, very early bird. I like what she does a lot. She's now also an illustrator, a photographer, a very creative head and very inspiring woman. She also has a podcast that is called Pardon My French, a very fitting title I find. On that podcast, she has guests come over, top-notch creative people, like brilliant minds. She knows everyone. She gets Diane von Furstenberg, she gets Sofia Amoruso, she gets all the fashion, beauty and lifestyle editors you can think of, like really, really inspiring people. And they just sit down together for about an hour and have a casual chat about the creative world, how fashion has evolved. Very interesting titles, and very little gets edited out, which I enjoy a lot. In the latest episode, she had Ezra Petronio as a guest. He's an art director and also the founder of Self-Service magazine, which is, in my opinion, hands down, one of the best magazines focused on fashion, but more than this, like on creative arts in general. It's not sold that much in press stores, but you can subscribe to it. What they do is absolutely unique. I love that magazine and the podcast of Garance Doré. Double recommendation. My next highlight this month is a big book called The Art of Collage, Contemporary Collage in Modern Art, Edition Gestalten. It's a very thick book, but a very pretty one. Collage is not considered as good or as cool as painting or photography for some reason. I don't understand why, because I think it's really hard to create a truly artistic collage since you're using pre-made existing elements. Creating something unique out of existing stuff is very challenging. Yeah? The book is very well structured and very pretty. You have for each artist a page with the explanation of the background, the method, the origin, and samples of his or her work. Look at that. Really, really cool. Another style, completely different. This one, which I love too. There are people who work with comics, people who draw on top. It's still a pretty new field where the rules are not really defined. We don't pay as much attention to collage as artists, but actually kids do that completely intuitively. It's interesting. Now, when I see a photo, I think, what could I paste or draw on top of it? The next one is more business-oriented. It's an audiobook that you can find on Audible, for instance. High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. I'll write it in the description. His theory is there is no age, country, gender, race, or anything that predefines how successful you can be in your life. He says it's all about the habits that you train, and habits can be learned through practice. I like that he uses many figures to support what he's saying, and he has worked as a coach and as a researcher for many years, so it looks like proper research. One thing that blew my mind in this audiobook is this. When I work, I feel that I'm achieving something, that I'm performing well when I push myself beyond the limit, when I stretch myself. After each high phase, I need a low phase to recover physically and mentally from the high phase. So I go up and down like this a lot in my process. What he says is high performers don't ever feel stretched while performing brilliantly. So their behavior is a lot more sustainable than mine. And they thrive over time without needing those breaks that I need to take. And I thought, ooh, I didn't know. Really new info. And I listened to that book in a weekend, taking notes. It's not an audiobook that you listen to just like that. You're focused on it and you take notes. In Berlin, I recently went to an exhibition of designs by Versace, not the sister who's running the house now, Gianni Versace, the brother. In the 90s, I think he was the first star designer, like a pop star, and that was before the internet and before Instagram. In the 20th century, designers have been suppliers. It wasn't cool. They were handcraft people and they were suppliers of the rich and noble. The iconic designers of the 20th century have actually been turned into icons later on for marketing purposes, not at the time when they were actually active. So Gianni Versace is an exception. He created ready-to-wear and was famous for his bright prints on silk. He used symbols from Greece, you might know of that, like the lion or the head of Medusa. He made references to theater performance a lot. He staged his models and his life in an impressively luxurious and public way. You could have held a fashion show or three at the same time in his house. Absolute luxury. He created and made the supermodels of the 90s like Naomi Campbell, Carla Bruni, Linda Evangelista, etc. He also created couture garments. The number of hours spent beading didn't matter. That was called Atelier Versace. If you couldn't sit in a skirt because it was too tight or too short, it didn't matter either. It was an interesting time for fashion and a very extravagant character. I will link down below in the description a documentary about Versace that was shown during the exhibition and that is hosted online. Now, a great little novel to take with you on holiday, The Sacred Night, La Nuit Sacrée by Tahar Benjeloun. He won the Goncourt Prize with that book, which is the equivalent of the American Pulitzer Prize. It is a non-linear story. So it's the story of a woman to whom random things happen, just like life is random. You start here, you meet someone, it takes you there, something else happens, you end up there and wonder how. It's a fantastic book, so not everything that happens in there is realistic, possible, or pretty, but that's why I liked it. I prefer fantastic fiction to reality fiction. I think it sparks the imagination more. If you like Paulo Coelho, for instance, I think you will like this book too. Then a documentary movie called He Named Me Malala. You probably heard of her in the press everywhere in the world. It's that girl from Pakistan, from a region where one day a Taliban group arrived. Little by little, they restrained liberties, worked on people's minds to change the culture, up to the day when they said girls should not be allowed to go to school at all. She spoke up and was shot in the head as a punishment, but she survived. She was transferred to England, recovered completely, and eventually became a huge spokesperson for girls' right to education and for liberty in general. She won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014. She was not even 20. What I learned in this movie was it wasn't an accident that she got shot. She was a symbol already. Her grandfather was a public speaker. Her father also, and he had taken a stand against the Taliban group. So she was actually born in a household, in a family where she learned to build her own opinion. And that's a really strong message. The movie is super interesting. If you look for it on streaming platforms, you'll find it. That's it for this month. I think that's enough inspiration for a couple of nice weekends. I'd like to use this monthly meeting, this video, to start a new routine together with you. I shared my highlights. Now, if you read, listen to, or watch any of these, please let me know in the comments below how you like them, and also tell me your own highlights. That can be something you read, heard, saw somewhere, or something you did. Everything counts. The more mixed it is, the better the list will be. To help me find your suggestions in the comments, please add a hashtag creative highlights so I can find your comments more easily. And that's it. We'll see how this new routine goes. Next month, I will share a mix of my highlights and yours. So it will make the list richer, and I hope this will become a kind of monthly meetup between us. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get the next videos, usually every Wednesday and Sunday. So see you very soon again. Take care. Bye.